You are listening to Move Forward with Matt Campisi. Move Forward is an interesting mix of motivational, political, and comedic discussions designed to empower, inspire, and entertain. Host Matt Campisi is a political candidate and social advocate. Episodes feature special guests and occasional artistic performances. And now here is your host, Matt Campisi.
When you don't interact with anyone, you'll find that life is quite enjoyable. Having food to eat and a place to sleep is enough. Many of life's troubles and unhappiness actually come from the people you deal with. Those who prefer to be alone have long realized this. Most socializing is just a waste of energy, while being alone gives them the freedom to be themselves. In this kind of freedom, they start to be honest about their weaknesses and insecurities, past pain points, or even stubborn beliefs they were reluctant to admit. By middle age, it doesn't matter whether one fits in or not. Understanding life is the most important thing. How others see you is not crucial. Being clear in your own heart is the real skill.
Can anybody relate to that? That was something that I found on TikTok that really struck me and is the basis for today's podcast on Move Forward with Matt Campisi. I have no friends. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Having no friends offers increased freedom, more time for personal growth, and less stress from social drama. But it can lead to loneliness, lack of emotional support, and potential negative impacts on physical and mental health. While some individuals, particularly introverts, may prefer solitude, the absence of social connection can increase risk for conditions like heart disease, depression, and anxiety. Let's talk about some of the pros of being friendless, having no friends. Well, when you don't have friends, you have more time and you have more freedom. You have more control over your schedule, allowing for more time for you to focus on your personal hobbies, your goals, or maybe even your family. Generally, you have reduced stress and drama. You avoid social politics, conflicts, and the emotional toll of managing sometimes complicated relationships. Increased self-focus. Solitude can lead to greater self-awareness, allowing you to become more in tune with your true self and your own needs. Greater productivity. With fewer social obligations, you can dedicate more time and energy to work, projects, or personal development. Less worry about betrayal. You don't have to fear being let down, gossiped about, or betrayed by someone in your social circle. And you're more independent. You learn to rely on yourself, becoming more self-sufficient and confident in your ability to handle things alone. But what are some of the cons of having no friends? Well, it can lead to loneliness and isolation. A lack of social interaction can lead to feelings of loneliness, isolation, and a craving for a human connection. A lack of emotional support. You may lack someone to share your good news with or someone to turn to during difficult times. Can also have negative health impacts. Social isolation can increase the risk of serious health problems, including heart disease, stroke, depression, and anxiety. It can lead to emotional and mental detachment. Without regular social interaction and emotional support, individuals may struggle to process their own feelings. Missed perspectives. Here's an interesting one. You may miss out on the diverse viewpoints and life experiences that friends can offer. Sometimes a friend can give you a different perspective that you hadn't thought about. Difficulty in social situations. A lack of friends can make it harder to engage in social activities or feel comfortable when you do have opportunities to connect. So those are some pros and cons of having friends. Obviously, the extroverts, they got to have them. Friends is just what they're all about. The introverts, well, we're comfortable without friends. I'm an introvert. And we are super comfortable. In fact, we prefer the solitude. We feel most comfortable when we're not around people. Interesting topic. It's going to be our topic of discussion today on Move Forward. I have no friends. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
I really don't like people. I'm sorry, I don't. That's just who I am.
Talk to me about that. What do you mean you don't like people?
I just don't like being around a bunch of people, and it's kind of ironic because I can go out in an arena full of 20,000 people and be all right with it. Only because I feel like I'm in this dome and I'm protected, you know. But You get me out in public, anywhere around a bunch of people, and I don't do well.
Are you
like that.
antisocial, or is it man, I want to say a phobia? Is it just
It's not a phobia, no. I just don't get
you
uncomfortable.
don't mix well with others for a
No,
shoot?
I don't play well.
And it's
no.
not like you're trying to be. That's just who you are.
That's just who I am. That's why I live out in the middle of nowhere. That's why I got a 8-foot fence around my property. That's why I shut the gate when I come and go. That's just who I am. I really.
That's Brock Lesnar talking about him not liking people. He's not a people person. Does anybody out there relate to that? I mean, are you the type of person that you don't like being around a bunch of people? You prefer to, be by yourself? There's a lot of different reasons for that. I mean, some people have had bad experiences. People hurt and abuse other people. People take advantage of other people. People are not always kind. People bully each other. And there's a lot of things about relationships that's, so for some people, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the squeeze, so to speak. And doesn't that make a whole bunch of sense? I feel like it does. If you've been hurt by people, if you've been let down by people, you might get to the point in your life where you say, you know what? It's just not worth the squeeze. It's not worth the effort, putting all this effort into this relationship just to be let down, just to be hurt, just to be abused. And I know that there is, right there is a, topic of diverse viewpoints. Some people would argue all day long that, relationships are what life's all about. And other people say, no, it's not. There's more to life than just our social relationships. Now, they say that human beings are social creatures, that there has been studies that when we are hermits and when we don't socially interact, it could have a negative impact on our health, on our physical health, on our mental health. So there's some strong arguments on both sides of this topic. What do you think? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing to be a loner in life, the lone wolf? I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel. What do you think? If you have something to say about this, go to my website, MatthewCampisi.com. That's MatthewCampisi.com. Click on the contact link. Send me an email. Tell me what you think about the topic of being friendless. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? I definitely would say that you should never let anybody shame you for not having friends. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing to feel bad about. If you are more comfortable by yourself doing the things that you enjoy, whatever that is, then there's nothing to be embarrassed about, nothing to be ashamed about. It's no reason to feel bad about being a loner. Some of us in this world are just born introverts. We prefer to be by ourselves. We are most comfortable by ourselves. We are uncomfortable when we are around other people. So I think that is the main message of this podcast. If you are an introvert, be proud. Be proud of who you are and accept who you are. Raise your hand high up in the sky and say, hi, I'm whatever your name is, and I'm an introvert. And be proud of it. Be proud of it. Because there is absolutely nothing to not be proud of. You are a human being. There are millions and millions of introverts in this world. And you come from a long line of fellow introverts. And it's okay. It's okay to be an introvert. So I would say my opinion, of course, this is an opinion question. My opinion is that there's nothing wrong with having no friends. If you prefer a night on the couch with a bowl of popcorn and you're watching Netflix and that's what you feel most comfortable doing, to a night out at a restaurant with a group of friends, great. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. So I will tell you that I've had friends throughout my life, so I know what I'm talking about. I know what it's like to have friends. I know what it's like to spend every day with a friend, going out, doing things, hanging out. When I was much younger, I had friends and I spent time with those friends. And, I know what that's like. And I also know as an older man now in my late 40s, I know what it's like to prefer to be a homebody, to prefer to be at the house doing nothing really, or doing odd jobs around the house. Here's a big disclaimer if we're talking about my life. I do have a best friend. My best friend is my wife, who I love very much, and we spend time together. We go out. So I'm not entirely a hermit that doesn't spend any time with any other human beings. I spend a lot of time with my wife, and I spend time, unfortunately, with people at work. So I do spend time with people. I'm not completely shut out to the world. And I do have friends. I'm just not the type of person that I don't have best friends who I'm hanging out with every day. Hey, let's go, do this. Let's go shoot. Let's go fishing, that kind of thing. I will do those things, but they're few and far between. And it's a big deal if I were to go with some friends going out fishing or doing something like that. It's a big deal because it's not something that happens very often. And that's how I like it. That's how I want it. If I wanted it any different, I would make changes in my life. I would actively go out and seek people. So, I think that's where it gets a little more troublesome. If you want friends, if you want to be social and you're not making friends, you're not meeting people, you have to be willing to go out there and face rejection, because making friends is a lot like, trying to meet a woman. For women trying to meet a man, you do risk rejection. Sometimes you can put yourself out there, say, hey man, how you doing? My name's Matt. Want to hang out sometime? And people will shoot you down. They'll basically tell you that they're not interested in being your friend. So you do got to put yourself out there if you want to have friends. We all know this. And, it's a little tough. It's a little tough putting yourself out there if that's what you want. How do you find friends? Well, there's a lot of different ways to find friends. You could join groups. You can just put yourself in situations where there's a lot of people. And generally, you're going to want to do something that's of interest to you. Like a great thing would be your hobbies. Join a group of people who are interested in your hobby. And that's a great way to meet like-minded people. So there's my spiel about that. For me, it's not the issue. Personally, I don't want friends. I'm not going out there looking for friends. I have a best friend. That is my wife, and that's more than enough for me. A dog, a loyal dog who will always be loyal and always love me. That's enough for me. I don't need, all these friends around me. I definitely don't need superficial relationships. The types of relationships I'm looking for would be more of some real substance. So, a bunch of superficial relationships do nothing for me personally. And that's the way that I feel. So I don't think there's anything wrong with not having friends. Please don't beat yourself up if you don't have a lot of friends. Be proud of who you are. It's okay to be an introvert. It's okay to spend the weekend by yourself with yourself. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And don't let anybody ever shame you for enjoying that, for liking that, for enjoying your own company. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What do you think? If you got an opinion on this, you want to tell me something about it, a story, whatever you got to tell, you can reach me at MatthewCampisi.com. Click on the Contact Us link. Send me an email and tell me, what you think. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube page. Be happy to tell me something about, how you feel about the topic of being friendless in the world. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope it inspired those who are introverts and who prefer to spend time by themselves. And it's just a reminder, smile and be proud of who you are. Guys, thanks so much for listening. This has been another great Move Forward with Matt Campisi. And as always, guys, have a great day.